Welcome back to K.A.A.M News. We have just gotten word that there was a spill of acetic acid in a train accident. There was a train delivering acetic acid to Products Co. from Products Co. to Visine, so they could manufacture eye drops. Unfortunately, the train was crossing a long old bridge over the water, and the bridge had suddenly snapped in half, which led to the sinking of the train, and the acetic acid went with it. The acetic acid has started to spread across the water. I will now send you out to Anthony, who will give you full coverage of this harmful chemical
Alright, so
in
what
the
I
water.
have right here is the full coverage of the acetic acid. So let's begin with the physical data of the acetic acid. For the physical data, the molecular weight of the acetic acid is 60.05 grams per molecule. The density is 1.0446 grams per cubic centimeter. At 170, it reaches 170.9 degrees Celsius at boiling point and 16.6 degrees Celsius at melting point. For their stability, it is stable under normal conditions. For any first aid measures, if you made contact with the acetic acid, make sure that for the eyes, flush eyes with water for at least 15 minutes. For any skin contact, flush skin with water for at least 15 minutes while removing any clothes that are contaminated. If the acetic acid is swallowed, make sure not to vomit and get medical aid immediately. If you inhale the acetic acid at all, make sure to remove that to fresh air. And if your patient is not breathing in the process, give artificial respiration. The health effects that this acetic acid could cause will be severe eye and skin burns when in contact with it. It causes digestive and respiratory tract burns, and it could cause chronic exposure. And chronic exposure to acetic acid may cause erosion, bronchitis, eye irritation, darkening of skin, and chronic inflammation of the respiratory tract. Acetic acid is used to produce vinyl acetate, vinegar, cellulose acetate, which is used for any textiles and photography, and is also used to purify compounds like the PET and plastic water bottles. For preventive measures, make sure to wear personal protective equipment. So for the eyes, wear a chemical splash goggles and face shield. For the skin, wear appropriate gloves and to prevent skin exposure. For any clothing that you want to protect yourself with, wear appropriate protective clothing to prevent skin exposure. And for your breathing, wear an appropriate gas mask to block out any substance. So for the reactivity data for the acetic acid, for the chemical stability, it is stable at room temperature in closed containers under normal storage and handling conditions. Make sure to use great caution in mixing with water due to the heat evolution that could cause explosive splattering. Conditions to avoid would be any ignition sources, excess heat, freezing temperatures, and confined spaces. For the chemical properties of the acetic acid, its color is colorless. The odor for the acetic acid is a sour vinegar-like odor, and the acetic acid taste has a strong sour taste to it. If the acetic acid were to cause a fire and explosion, make sure to wear a self-contained breathing apparatus and pressure demand, and full protective gear. If the fire starts spreading, use water spray to keep fire-exposed containers cool. And this is when the fire hits, it reacts with most metals to form highly flammable hydrogen gas, which can form explosive mixtures with air. If the acetic acid is accidentally released from the area, remove all ignition sources and ventilation appliances that come from the area, and make sure to contain the spill with sand or any other inert absorbent material. And to neutralize it, try using sodium bicarbonate or calcium hydroxide. And the chemical formula for acetic acid is 2 carbon, 4 hydrogen, and 2 oxygen, C2H4O2. Now I will send you out to Anna, who will tell you what they're going to do about this spill.
Hello, this is Anna Frias with the efforts to clean up the spill of acetic acid, also known as vinegar. Acetic acid has a pH of 2.4 and it is an acid, which means it is extremely corrosive if not distilled. Its chemical formula is C2H4O2. We have three methods of cleaning it up: distillation, sodium hydroxide, also known as drain cleaner, and baking soda. The drain cleaner has a pH of 14. It is a base, so it would help neutralize the acidity. However, it itself is also extremely corrosive. Its chemical formula is NaCO3, and the overall chemical formula, which would be happening between the two substances, is NaCO3 and C2H4O2 would yield NaC2H3O2, water, and CO2. The NaC2H3O2 is sodium acetate, which has a pH of 5.2. Then there is also the baking soda method, and baking soda has a pH of 8.4. It is a base, so it would also help neutralize the acidity, and it is corrosive to certain things, but not all things. Its chemical formula is NaOH, and the overall chemical equation that would happen is NaOH plus C2H4O2 would yield H2O and NaCO3, which is sodium carbonate with a pH of 11.6. Then there's finally distillation, which is where you just distill the vinegar from being as corrosive as it was, and we used a 1-to-2 ratio in determining how much water to use. Here I am at the site where the spill happened. The scientist has found a solution for the vinegar. It is not water or Drano. Water is is a neutral, so it doesn't really cancel out the acid, and even though Drano is a base, is a very strong one, so when combined with vinegar, it becomes a poison. Fortunately, it's baking soda. And because baking soda is a base, it neutralizes the acid, and together they make a carbon dioxide. We found the solution.
Thanks for watching K.A.A.M News. For more information on this topic, go to www.kamnews.com/isn'treal.